that's what we talk about today, is how do you get an order form filled out with payment on every single appointment that you do, whether it's everything in the book or one single item, okay? And if you really pay attention today, we can make sure that not only are you making sales, but you are closing effectively on every single order that you're doing. I want to tell you that for the most part, right, for the most part, this is what your appointments look like. Now, look, I wasn't on your demos, okay? I wasn't on your appointments at all. If you guys didn't make sales, okay, I didn't ask you why they didn't purchase, specifically so that I could show you today we actually know what we're talking about here. Let me show you. This is what happened on your appointment, right? Cutco's so great. Cutco's so good. I love Cutco. And they're freaking just fired up beyond belief. They love the leather demonstration, don't they? Everybody likes cutting the stuff. And then you go, by the way, the homemaker's $9.45, and it's like, boom. Now all of a sudden, all the enthusiasm's in the crapper, and you know, they're not as fired up anymore about what's going on. And what happens on your presentations, okay, is that we never, new trainees their first couple days don't know how to get the enthusiasm back up. So what happens is you're teetering somewhere in here, and a lot of people end up selling, you know, starter sets and piece orders and galley sets and things like that. Now, we sold quite a few homemakers, but the majority first weekend sales are, you know, right in this range. Does that make sense? Isn't this pretty much how it went on your presentations? For the most part, yes or no? Yes. Yeah, sure. And by the way, I wasn't on your presentations. This is what happens for everybody first weekend. Does that make sense? Now, after advanced training, what happens is they never quite lose that enthusiasm, and we sell so many more homemakers and sets directly after advanced training. I will tell you, with what you learned today, I hope you have a full day of appointments today, because after today, do not be surprised if you sell more in one day than what you guys sold for the last 3 days combined. It is a time-tested recipe for success. That's why we want to bring you in. The first weekend is not about making sales. So if you did, you're well ahead of the game. The first weekend is about learning the presentation, experiencing what it's like to do the presentation, to get a little bit of experience, so that when we cover the advanced stuff, we're not having to work on the basics, because you already got the basics down of the presentation. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, so let's talk about what closing is, okay? First off, the definition of closing, right, is helping a customer feel comfortable getting something they already want. Okay, helping a customer feel comfortable getting something that they already want. Okay? Obviously the key word being comfortable and the key phrase being already want. Alright, folks, let's go back to our example here. This is key point number 1. You guys ready for key point number 1? Alright, key point number 1 of today. Let's go back to our example that we just made. Nobody told you that Cutco was a piece of junk, spit in your face, kicked you out, and told you to leave, did they? Okay, so that's key point number 1. Key point number 2. If Cutco was free, would your customers have taken it, yes or no? Okay, now can you say that about everything though? I mean, look, just if my tie was free, that doesn't mean everybody would take it. If, you know, if certain clothes are free, that doesn't mean everybody takes it. You pass by free food in the mall all the time with the samples, you don't always take it. I mean, free doesn't mean anything. You pass by free literature all the time and you don't pick it up, free doesn't mean anything. Yet, you guys are telling me that if Cutco knives were free, every single one of your customers would have taken it. Is that accurate? So, look up here, and what does that tell you? That tells you that every single person that you saw wanted Cutco. Is that an accurate statement? So based on this definition, what do you now know? What you now know is, had you have been able to make that customer feel comfortable with the deals or the prices or whatever it is, since every single person that you see wants it, if you could have made the customer feel comfortable, you could have closed on every single order that you do. And what that tells you in the future is, since every single solitary person that you're going to see in the future is also going to want it, yes, you can close 100% of the time. And you should. You should walk out of the house with an order every single time. Your ability to close is not about being this unbelievably good salesperson. It's not about these little catchphrases that salesy people use. And it's not about being salesy. It's about being a good enough human being to help people feel comfortable getting what they want today, because we already know every single person that you see is going to want the stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, now look, I was not on your demos today, or yesterday, or the day before. Although we sold well over $10,000, not every appointment was a sale. That's how it works, okay? Now, I specifically do not ask, when you didn't make sales, why the customer didn't buy for the first weekend. I never ask, if you didn't make a sale, why didn't your customer buy? What was their objection? The reason I don't ask is because I want to come in here and prove to you that there's nothing about this business we don't already know. I guarantee you that if they didn't purchase, it was for one of these 4 reasons. If you didn't sell a homemaker, it was either because of the price, it was because the homemaker's too many pieces, it was because they have to ask their husband, or it's a matter of time. Can you come back in a month? Can you call me back in a week? Can you come back, after taxes or whatever? You understand? We just finished up Christmas. Whatever. Any timing issues. Now, this is test for your manager, number 1. Anytime they didn't sell a homemaker, wasn't it because of one of these 4 reasons, yes or no? You didn't hear anything that wasn't on this list, did you? No. So I share that with you because the reality is Cutco is not a guessing game. You understand? We're not a car lot. We're not a clothing store. We're not going to be throwing all this random stuff all the time. It's really simple. Cutco is a science. Everything in Cutco is a formula. It's a science. We already know, you already know what the objections your customers are going to give you in advance. That's like, as a batter, knowing what pitches you're going to see in advance. You understand? That gives you a significant advantage. And I'm telling you folks, this is such an easy job. It's like baseball. And this is really key. Make sure you're paying attention to this point. It's like baseball, okay? In baseball, if I'm a batter, I only have to know how to hit 4 pitches. I got to know how to hit a fastball, a curveball, a changeup, and a slider, and that's really it. That's all I need to know. If I know how to hit those 4 pitches, does it matter what ballpark I'm in, yes or no?
No.
Does it matter who's pitching those balls, yes or no? Because the pitches themselves never change. Does that make sense? And if all I do is practice how to hit those 4 pitches, I can go into any ballpark in America and I can put the ball into play. Some will be singles, doubles, triples, home runs. We don't know. But what I do know is that I can put the ball into play every single time. Okay? If you already know the objections that you're going to see in advance, you should be able to put the ball into play every single solitary time. Because we're going to give you stuff to say for each one of these that will make sure you close on all your demos that you're doing. You guys follow with me? Now, the reason why your demo looked like this your first weekend is because we didn't talk about facing or handling any objections. All we said is, here's how to do page 1 through 18, here's who to go see, go try it, and see how it works. And just based on sheer talent and the fact that you saw the right